Alright, you guys, so something a little different this week. No more Star Wars for a little bit. I was at Hobby Lobby and I found this really cool Vegeta model kit. It was $18.99, but the day I went, all model kits were 50% off. So I ended up getting this baby for $8, so that was a pretty sweet deal. So, first thing I do, obviously, take out all the pieces from the packaging. I've always loved doing model kits. Even when I was little, I would do, cars and race cars and all that kind of stuff. But it seems like nowadays model kits are way more involved. They do a lot of figures. Bandai does a lot of like really cool figures. I've been looking at the Mandalorian Bandai figure. It's like really, really detailed, really cool, and they make his Razor Crest too. The funny thing though is like I look at all these model kits, and I know that they would be like fun to build and paint and everything, and then I look at the price and I say, I could probably just 3D print that and paint it, and it would be probably cheaper, because I already have the expensive part, for 3D printing. So I don't know. I usually do that, and then I say, oh yeah, well I'll just 3D print it, and then I'll go to 3D print it, and I'll say either, oh man, now I gotta paint that, or now I gotta build a base and display it and paint it and everything, or I will say, well, I don't really want to waste the resin for that. I don't really want that. So I do a lot of I do a lot of 3D printing, but it has to be something that I really, really want. And so you guys did see I did do the Mandalorian. That was a sweet, sweet file. And I probably will do the Razor Crest eventually. And I would love to do his new ship from the Book of Boba Fett with Grogu in the pod. So what I'm doing here is I got the model built. Now I'm using his legs and his feet to get an idea of where he's going to stand. I use some of this packing foam. You guys have seen me use this stuff a lot here lately with the Boba Fett diorama. My plan for this figure is I wanted it to look like it's from the Tournament of Power from Dragon Ball Super. So I wanted to make it look like it's part of the arena floor. And towards the end of the Tournament of Power, it's all cracked and destroyed. So that's kind of what I'm going for. This is something that I thought I showed in my Book of Boba Fett diorama, but turns out I didn't. This is just some plaster of Paris, mixing up with some water. And I'm just using this metal scraper here to smooth that out on the top, and then I'm using a paintbrush to pick up some of the extra, but also brush that into all the cracks and crevices of the packing foam. It seals the foam, but it also gives you a good texture for paint, and you can sand it smooth if you need to. So the top I sand smooth, and I leave everything else bumpy underneath. So then I go through with some dark brown. I paint in all the cracks and crevices, and the side just to get a good dark base coat. I like painting from dark to light. Paint everything dark, work your way up to the light, and then dry brush the lightest coat on top. That's how I like to paint. There are people who do the opposite. They do light to dark. I guess I kind of do a mix where I do from dark to light to the lightest dry brush, and then I will put a black wash on top of it too, which darkens it up. Just kind of blends everything together. So what I'm doing is I drew the design of the ring. It's got like this circular pattern with these triangles that make up these you go around the circular pattern, these triangles. So I drew those out first to see exactly where I wanted them to go. And then I go through and I paint them. The one thing I didn't do in this, because I did this before I did the Book of Boba Fett diorama, and I learned a lot on that Boba Fett diorama. I didn't, after I did the plaster of Paris, I didn't seal it with paint and hodgepodge mix. So it's really important to do that. It's really important to do a coat of paint and Mod Podge mixture on top of plaster of Paris, because what happened to me with this without it is the paint would kind of just peel off of the plaster of Paris. It almost is like the plaster of Paris stays it stays damp for a long time. It does dry eventually, but because I have no patience, it took a while. So the paint kind of peels off and doesn't stick to it super great. So that's kind of what happened. But I just kind of kept painting it, fixing it, and trying not to be too heavy-handed and peel it up by accident. And in the end, it worked out pretty good, and I was pretty happy with it. As you can see, I just went through and I did a dry brush on top. Now, my plan for Vegeta, the model is really nice, but it's just all the basic colors, just base colors. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to do a paint job on him that looks like the cell shading from the show. So I kind of figured out what his stance was going to be that you would see displayed, and then I kind of based that off of how he would be shaded in the show. I think it's called cell shading, but basically what it is in Dragon Ball Z, in Dragon Ball Super, they do, it's like 3 to 4 colors in an area. So it's like a really dark, a medium, a light, and then the base color. So that's kind of what I'm trying to emulate here. This is funny. This is kind of the opposite of what I was just talking about with painting. Because the base color is already on the model, what I'm doing is I'm basically painting light to dark. So the base color stays the lightest color, and then I go through and I paint like a darker color, and then after that dries, I go through and I paint an even darker color on top of that. I've never done this kind of paint style on a figure before, so it was really fun to try to figure out how to do it, because that style works really well on like 2D, for the show. But painting it in 3-dimension, it's almost like you're trying to paint it where it looks good at any angle that you're looking at. You kind of want to really emulate the shadows so that it'll always be a shadow, no matter what direction you're looking at it. So it got a little tricky to get it just right. And I'm pretty happy with the way it came out. I think it looks pretty cool, and it's one of my only Dragon Ball figures that I have that has that kind of shading on it. So now that he's all painted up, now I can go through and put the figure back together. Nice thing about this figure is it clips in pretty nice and you don't need any glue for it. So then I decided to go through, paint a little bit of white on his face just to highlight his like brow and that kind of stuff. You do see that a lot in the show. There are parts that are a very bright white. It shows like light reflection. So I go through and I do that on I think pretty much the whole thing. A lot on the hair. The hair is always kind of like that. Kind of makes it look like it's glowing. And I think I go through on his legs and arms and stuff too, and just add some white highlights. Alright, so now he's all painted up. I can put him on the display base. Figure out exactly where I want him to stand. And then glue him on there. That is it. That is Vegeta on the Tournament of Power display base. Pretty happy with that. It looks pretty good with my other two Dragon Ball figures and displays. Hope you guys liked the video, and I will see you guys next time.